Hey everyone, Scott J. from Crucible Custom Props, Neuroforks Lab, and all the forums here. So this is a bit of a different video than what I normally do. First of all, you see my face. Second of all, I'm doing a review on a Dragon King Fletching Katana. The reason I'm doing this is because there are just very few. There's maybe like 2 other videos out there that I've seen. I want to kind of give people an idea who might be looking at this for their first katana to kind of get an idea of what to expect. So here we go. So basically it comes from Hanwei CAS Iberia is the distributor for Dragon King. I don't honestly know much about where these are made. Probably China. Oh, well, most definitely China. But I don't know what province or anything like that I don't know much about Dragon King in particular. But they do stand out a little bit. The sword comes in this bag. Let me just get rid of this. But they do stand out a little bit as far as their hardware. Their Koshirai is a little bit different from some of the others I've seen, and especially in this price range. This is about the $350, $400 price range, depending on where you get it and how, if you get it cheap or a discount or whatever, a used. Now there are some caveats in this price range. You're gonna get one thing and not a lot of other things. This is a T10 differentially hardened blade, from what they say anyway. This has about a 12 3/4 or 3/8 tsuka length, and as you can kind of see, it's got a fairly decent profile. It's not an axe handle. It's got a little bit of an hourglass shape. It feels pretty nice. It's got the brown saya and ishime real horn fittings on the top, the bottom, and the kurigata. Now the ito, you can see, is very shoestringy. It's real thin. It's just cheap. You know, it's done in a presentation knot, but it's nothing special. We got cotton ito for the wrap over real Samigawa panels. It's definitely not full, especially for this price range. But one of the cool things is all of the fittings, these are copper, and you have silver fittings. And I've done a little bit of filing on the Hibachi, which is silver as well, and there's no brass underneath, so it's not plating. It's definitely some kind of silver alloy. It's not magnetic either, so it's kind of cool. And the seppa are not your typical run-of-the-mill Chinese brass with straight serrations around. These are scalloped and with small scallops in between. The tsuba is an arrowhead, well, the fletching of the arrows, of course, goes with the theme, and the fuchi and kashira have the same kind of motif. This is the second one I've had. The first one that came, when I got it, it had a nick in the blade and it had a crack in the tsuka. But this one has a little bit of seam separation in the tsuka. When I was looking into it, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. But the blade's in great shape. The only thing about this one in particular is the tsuka is shimmed. So when I took that off, you could see these big old fat shims down. They just made the wood one big hole, and they had to shim it up to get it tight. It is tight, but the bamboo makugi that they use are not of really high quality, so they'll probably be replaced. I'll probably machine some out of Delrin and use those, but the Manuki are pretty neat. They're silver as well. Everything looks a little bit different from your run-of-the-mill cheap Chinese. It's got a pretty good, I did shim this saya, so the first one I had 0 rattle, and it was held really well. This one, now that I've shimmed it, it doesn't rattle and it doesn't fall out at all. It's got a pretty good purchase on it. The Koiguchi is pretty nice. It's not a big fat piece of wood. I kind of wish the horn was thicker this way, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, the blade is what most people want to look at. Let me put this down. Now I'm gonna probably run in some B-roll here of the blade and things like that, so you can kind of get a good look at this. Hopefully it's showing up. The first one I had was very sharp. This one is a little less sharp. The polish isn't quite as good, but you can see a real hamon there. There's a bit of oil still on this one, but overall it's pretty nice. It's got a nice taper to it. This one's straight. I had another Dragon King, the Savior, which I'll be doing a separate review on, and that one had a bent blade. It just juked straight out to the right when you took it out. But what's funny is that in a different price range, the other one, Tsuka, has a perfectly fit Tsuka compared to this one where it's all shimmed. A lot of the same things, but the blade's nicer. It's got a nicer polish. It's got bohi. Everything's nicer about the other one for a higher price, but this one is genuinely pretty nice. It's not that it's very light. Recently had a very poor eBay transaction. There was a Bugay bamboo, and that seemed, even though the blade was trashed, you know, it seemed very, very blade heavy. This one seems much more balanced, and the one with the bohi even more light. So this is quite nice. Anyway, there's not much really I can say. I haven't cut with it or anything like that, so I can't talk to that. But as far as the fittings go, everything is pretty decent. It's just a little bit different from your standard garden variety Chinese made katana. It's a lot better in some. It looks pretty on par with most Hanwei stuff. I think it's not a folded blade, but it's, you know, I imagine it's sharp enough. We'll find out. But the fact that you get a T10 differentially hardened blade with a real hamon and not an axe handle, you can kind of see the profile there. A little bit of a hourglass shape. It's pretty nice. It feels good. Kosher is different from most stuff. Pretty much, I just feel like I'm repeating myself now. It does have a cosmetic yokote, not a real one, or not a geometric one anyway. But it's pretty straightforward. It's just a little bit of junk right there from the side out, but it looks pretty good. Pretty cool overall. If you can get it cheap, why not? It's pretty decent. One thing I wanted to comment on is I see a lot of tsuka here. So where the knot down here is where the ito knot is. A lot of tsuka don't have a recess for that knot, so the knot sticks out real fat. Well, this one has a recess carved into both sides so that it kind of lays a little bit more flush. And I see that on Nihonto a lot, but not a lot of the Chinese blades. So this one kind of has that going for it too. So anyway, this is it. I'm going to show some still photos of it here in just a little bit, and if I haven't done that throughout the video anyway. So this is kind of what you can kind of look for. Dragon King Fletching. It's pretty decent except for your shoestring. Sageo. The Savior has a actually pretty decent sageo. I don't think it's silk, but it's, you know, at least it's much nicer. So it's pretty decent. Thanks for watching. Okay, folks, so here's some supplemental stuff. Wanted to show kind of the blade. So here's the Nakago. It's got some file markings. It's not completely devoid of, you know, care. Let's see if I can get that in focus. It's got a little number on it. I'm not sure what that is. There is no mate, but the hamachi and munamachi is relatively parallel to each other. But here, let's see if I can get this in focus here. You can kind of see the blade in a better light, maybe. If I can get it to focus. Maybe not. I'm going to play no manual focus here. It's got a nice mirror edge on the shinogi though. You can see that. Let's see if we can get that in there. No focus. Well, it seems to do better at a distance. In any case, let's see. You just don't want to focus. There we go. You can kind of see that the yokote is just kind of a difference in polish. It's not much really to see. It's not a very interesting blade as far as metal work goes. Oh, golly, I wish it would focus. There is a ham on there, but you can kind of get an idea there. I did want to show some of these fittings up close though. You can see here the seppa, that scallop instead of the typical serrations. The hibachi is here. This hibachi fit quite well. The hibachi that came on the Savior was a pain in the butt to get off. In fact, I had to do a lot of filing to get it to go on and off. Now, so maybe I'm making it worse than it is. So here's the shimmed tsuka. You can see the two shims on either side. You can see a little bit of that separation there on the seam. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit right there. Just a little bit of seam separation. It can be glued. It's not flexing really, so I'm not going to worry too much about it right at this point. But you can see it there. Let's see if I can use this zoom to my advantage to... No, you don't want to focus, no matter what. Let's see if I can get my hand in there. Man. There's the blade. Kind of see that a little bit. It's got a nice profile though. See a little bit closer on these seppa as well. It's not hand, it's not custom work, but it's pretty decent for what you get. It's just different. I like that. So not much else to really say about it. Have a look at the Fuji. Kind of see the fletching theme here. It's cast, they're cast of course, but that's pretty decent quality. I wouldn't say it's bad or anything. It looks pretty nice. The arrow fletching on the tsuba is pretty cool. Let me try and get you a little closer up look of some of the other parts here. Let me flip that actually. So here is the kashira. The shitodome. Samigawa is not high quality or anything, but it's there. Flip it, and then you can see the other Minuki. Oh, the one thing I did want to talk about is this Ito is pretty tight. I'm pushing on it. It moves. It doesn't really move, to be honest. It moves a little bit over the Minuki, but otherwise it's pretty dang tight. The Savior is like that too. I mean, it's super tight. Probably the tightest. It was even tighter than the Bouquet. But so that's kind of it. Kind of just wanted to show you guys. Why can't you focus? There we go. One more time, the blade, if you can. Of course, I'm doing this with my phone, so if I had something I could control the focus on, we would be in business. But the hamon just really just doesn't show up very well in certain light. It's there though. See if I can turn this and get a better idea of what it looks like. Anyway, all right, I hope this helps somebody. So thanks for looking.